Recently I was talking to some Runescape buddies about QBD versus Vindicta in terms of money making, which sparked a video idea in my head. What's better, consistent money versus RNG related money making? So here we are. Whenever you're ready, grab that cup of tea, sit back, relax, and enjoy. To kick it off, what exactly is considered consistent money making and what is considered RNG or luck related money making? RNG related money making, simply put, is where you would only be making good money per hour if you received a rare drop, meaning you are dependent on those rare drops. Although on average long term it can still be good money when it evens out. Consistent money is where you'd be making the same amount of money approximately every single hour consistently regardless of what you get as a drop, because there are no rare drops to really boost the GP per hour. Sometimes the rare drop is like a big bonus, for example with wyverns, where if you get a wyvern crossbow you'd be making really good money, but without it you'd still be making good money because it's consistent GP from all the common drops. So why exactly is consistent money so good, and why is it something I personally prefer? Well, first of all, you know what you're getting and what. If you're making 5 million GP per hour, you know that in 10 hours you'll have 50 million GP and you can get that lance or whatever else you want. You can basically calculate how many hours it's going to take you in terms of work to get to a certain item or a GP threshold. Now, I don't know about you, but I like some insight in how long something is going to take me. It's just the way I am. I like being a planned and organized person, and consistent money is an easy way of being planned and organized. While with RNG, you don't really know how much you're going to be making, but that's not entirely true either, as we'll get to that in just a bit. Consistent money also means you don't have to care about RNG and you won't feel bad when you finished a few hours of bossing and you still don't have a drop or your 1000 kills dry. That feeling is absolutely awful. It is also, most of the time, better for short-term profit as you don't need to rely on RNG. This heavily depends on the method, of course, but usually consistent money will be better for short-term monetary goals. And some consistent money makers usually stay relevant long-term. Now, why is consistent money bad? Well, first of all, it's extremely boring as there's nothing exciting about making the same amount of money every single hour doing the exact same thing. It just doesn't give the same feeling as finally getting that red drop after a dry streak or on your first kill. That just isn't there, that it doesn't exist. The only other real downside to consistent money makers is that in the long term, over let's say 50 hours, RNG related money makers will make you more money on average if on drop rate. And that's a big plus for RNG related methods. If you're going to be bossing or doing a boss for 100 hours, not even 100 hours, probably like 20 hours, you're going to probably make more money, given that you're doing the right boss, let's say next, than a consistent money making method. That being said, there are some consistent money making methods that are extremely good. So there you have it, your two big pros for RNG related money making methods. You make more money long term, and it's a lot more fun when you do end up getting a red drop, and usually these methods are more exciting. Think bossing instead of boring slayer methods, or moss golems, which are a slayer method that rely on RNG, because if you don't get Cinderbanes or an ancient elven ritual shard, you won't really be making much money there. So before I show you an actual example, we're going to take a virtual example that's a lot easier to understand. Virtual method 1 makes you 10 million GP per hour net, but there are no rare drops, meaning in 5 hours you will have made 50 million GP. Method 2 makes you 2 million GP per hour consistently net, which means you'll make 10 million GP in 5 hours, but if we take kills per hour and the drop rate on average for a weapon into account, every 5 hours you receive a 50 million GP drop. Let's say this is some kind of tier 90 weapon. This means every 5 hours you'd be making 10 million GP in common drops, and 50 million GP from that rare drop if you're on drop rate, meaning you'll make 60 million GP instead of 50 million GP in 5 hours, which means this method 2, is actually better long term because it's 12 million GP per hour, while the other one is only 10 million GP per hour. Now let's say you need an item that is worth 24, 25-ish million GP. Which method would you personally choose? Now, most of you thinking just numbers would say, oh, the second method is 12 million GP per hour, so I'll do that one and make it in just 2 hours. But in reality, you're probably better off taking method 1 and doing it in 2.5 hours, because you can guarantee you can get that item in 2.5 hours because the money is consistent. With method 2, in the exact same time, you could end up with around 5 million GP, which is 1/5 of your goal if you're unlucky. If you're lucky, of course, you could get it in the first kill or in the first 5 minutes, but that's usually not the case. This is the exact reason why players prefer Elite Dungeon 3 GP farming or something like QBD or Slayer over PVM when learning. Let's take a real example. So I killed Vindicta with my main account with 99 stats, a cultic staff and subjugation in around 2 minutes and 46 seconds. Now I know you high level players are going to say, oh, that's so slow, but you do actually splash quite a bit without overloads in 290s. It's just the way it is. With the respawn timer, we're just going to say that's 3 minutes per kill, which means 20 kills per hour, okay? Just keep that in mind. Now let's have a look at a QBD kill without super anti-fires. Actually, I take that back. If you're doing QBD without super anti-fires, you're going to be shoving the equivalent of a dump truck's weight in sharks down your throat every kill. So let's go to a kill with super anti-fires. Now, if we include the time from the intro cinematic, going to the room, looting, and restarting the instance, a kill will take you, on average, probably about 2 minutes and 20 seconds, which means almost 26 kills per hour. Let's say 25 to keep it easy. So 25 QBD kills per hour and 20 Vindicta kills per hour. Which one is better? So according to the wiki, Queen Black Dragon at 25 kills per hour is around 5.15 million GP per hour. We're going to ignore the input cost on the wiki because we aren't using degradable armor and we aren't using rocktails and overloads. So 5.1 million GP per hour. For Vindicta, it's 5.13 million GP per hour at 20 kills per hour. And as you can see, most of that money is coming from the rare drops if you are on drop chance. The Dragon Rider Lance is 1.7 of that money. The Crest is 1.5 of that money. And as you can see, the common drops really don't make up for that much GP per hour. So if you're going off of drop rates, you're not going to be making as much money as with QBD. However, we also need to take a look at the money per hour if you have 100% reputation, because it increases the chance of you receiving Dragon Rider Lances and so on. As you can see, the profit per hour is now 7.78 million GP per hour, so significantly higher. And all of that is cool and all, but it's really not taking into account the different types of players and the different types of kills per hour people will get at both of these bosses. If you want to compare two bosses, you use the wiki calculators and you want to look at the average GP per kill and how many kills you can get as an individual per hour. Now in this particular case, you can clearly see that QBD seems to be less money per kill, but I was also getting 25% more kills per hour when compared to Vindicta. And you should still consider that rare items are rare and you can go off drop rate, which means that your personal average GP per kill with Vindicta could be potentially a lot lower if you don't get a Lance or Crest in, let's say, 300 or 400 kills. It can happen, while QBD's average GP per kill is a lot more accurate. This just shows that QBD, after around 9 years of release, is still a decent mid-level moneymaker. Sure, it might not be the absolute best, but it's consistent, and that's something you need to consider. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it interesting. If you did, leave a like down below and maybe even consider subscribing, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.